Yo, GM fam, hope you're doing all right. It is 10 a.m. over here on the East Coast. Hey, it could be morning, it could be afternoon, it might even be the evening where you're at. We definitely appreciate you popping in here. So thank you so much for joining us for Web3 Breakfast, a show for the community, by the community. Guys, remember, if you want to come up and chat with us today, all you got to do is request to speak. Everybody is welcome up on the stage here. Remember, we only got the one rule. It's don't be a douchebag. So no racist, sexist, or homophobes. Other than that, come on up here and chat, because today we're going to be talking about the impact of Web3 and crypto on traditional industries. And so it doesn't matter who you are or what you do, obviously, you know, as we incorporate Web3 and blockchain, you know, into more verticals, more industries, more ecosystems, you know, there will be, you know, a lot of change, a lot of disruption, a lot of change. And so let's talk about it. What kind of industry are you in? Are you in real estate? You know, are you in the automotive industry? Are you in sports? Are you in tech? You know, what are you in? And, you know, how do we see, you know, the implications of, you know, Web3? So definitely excited. Guys, I am made a breakthrough, a huge breakthrough this morning. I finally figured out how I can get, and I want to know, you know, music-wise, you're going to have to, you know, today's like an R&D day for us because I'm so pumped. I got the iPad to work with the Rode, and the, you know, obviously the Bluetooth with the, you know, with the space. And so now what I thought was a mobile setup truly is not just a live stream and Twitter space. We are straight up mobile because I got this thing working. So when we play music, I just want to make sure, guys, give me thumbs up, because sometimes the people watching on YouTube, they can't hear anything. That was an issue that we had yesterday, that everybody tuned in on the live stream couldn't hear any of the audio, the music. Just, you know, they could hear Turbo and I talking. So hopefully we got that squared away. And like, honestly, if we are now this mobile and our setup size is this small, guys, we're gonna do some damage on the road with some people when we can get some interviews with some high level people here. And that means, guess what? LA, baby, this week, Turbo. He's not going to be on the show today. Turbo is currently in the air on the way to LA. He will be checking in with those folks, with the crew there later today. I'll check in with him, see how it's going. But then I fly tomorrow morning. Obviously, I got to spend a little time with my baby girl. It's her second birthday. So I'm flying in the afternoon tomorrow out to LA. Super excited for Friday, guys. Big event at UCLA, the Global Business Sports Forum. So we're going to be chatting all about, you know, the importance of these emerging technologies and how they impact. You know, now this is specifically, you know, in the sports and entertainment world, which, you know, I have a huge background in. So I'm like chomping at the bit to get there because these are some of my people, right? I worked in collegiate athletics for a decade before I got into crypto. So it's going to be fun to check back in with these people. I specifically, to the folks on LinkedIn, I specifically started streaming over to LinkedIn because I found that there is, you know, a really good bridge between, you know, what we're doing here in Web3 and, you know, these people in the sport world or in the transportation world. And so that's why it's important, you know, that we have these conversations, you know, the impact of Web3 and crypto on traditional industries, because you never know, like, when that light bulb is going to click, like, right? You know, we've been doing this show for a long time, but it never really clicked in my mind, like, hey, why don't we connect with these people? Because, like, you know, like, talk about, you know, the collegiate sport world. Like, listen, we could get the ticketing on NFTs. You know, any bowl game, you can have commemorative NFTs, you know, that you know, give to, you know, the people that are there in attendance. Season tickets can be turned into NFTs, concerts at, you know, colleges and universities, all that kind of stuff. So, like, guys, we are, you know, we are just on the, like, touching the surface of all this. And we talk about it all the time, right? Like, the PFP movement, what we know of NFTs right now, It's just the beta test, right? That's where we've been for the last several years. But now it's time to open up the doors, to other industries on a much higher capacity at a higher level, so that we can really start to change the world. So, all right, that's the little setup for the day, guys. I hope hope you're doing all right. It's hump day. It's Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. So remember, if you set some goals on Monday to accomplish, you're halfway through your timeline. So make sure you get on it if you still got some things to do. So Corey, my guy.
GMG, J-Chain. I can't be the only other speaker here, though. That's not... I don't have enough to say.
You don't want to do like a little J Chains and Corey interview today, little one-on-one? Well, 7 came up.
Oh no, yeah, 7 needs to come up.
Let's get the crew on up here. Come on up, guys. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about what maybe a traditional career or job or whatever, something that you've done in the past that you think what the heck is I've started reading that comment from Mike. What is going on in the industry that you worked in, know a lot about, that you think blockchain could really transform it? When I was in the we were in a group and event ground transportation, and so we booked charter buses for pro teams, collegiate teams, business continuity, so corporate clients, all that kind of stuff. Massive, large scale events. So when the Pope came to Philadelphia, we did the intake and coordination of the logistics for every charter bus in the country coming into Philly. So like high level shit, right? And so like that's why I think there's really a lot of ways that we can get the ground transportation world up to speed, because even before blockchain technology, we always said in this industry, like the bus world's like 20 years behind the times, right? We're starting to see some movement into like the digital era, but like blockchain is like, man, they listen, if you think like normies freak out at blockchain, I guarantee you, if you go into a management office at a bus company and started talking about crypto and blockchain, there's a few people that know, because I have seen some people in the industry there, but I think it's just would just go over their head. But that doesn't mean that we can't start to really educate them and facilitate these these advancements into this ecosystem in a much faster way, just because we know some things. So 7, what's up? What you got for us, man? GM.
I think that one of the biggest, because I was in inventory management, and that would like be the best thing in the world, to have everything on the blockchain, to know where everything went, to know where everything is inside of the house, like being able to never have oh man, box fell off the truck, like where is it? Because it probably at that point will probably be have some kind of a tag, so you'll know if that box didn't make it from this to this, it's somewhere in that manifest. Mm-hmm. It'll be there. But because blockchain, it's always immutable. There's no way you're gonna lose that shit, and everybody will know, because I feel like especially for any kind of a business that has large inventory, mm-hmm. everybody will have something in their wallet that will give them access to that manifest. No one will be left out. It'll be more communication for like the ground level people versus like them just being can be like, well, just gonna have to order another one, folks. You know what I mean?
The old Amazon method. I with like transportation, logistics, and really like infrastructure, right? Like I had bigger hopes. And listen, I'm VFam for life. Like I will always have VeChain. It will always be a part of my portfolio. I will always monitor the situation there. And like the NFT scene, guess what? Hashtag NFT. VeChain has NFTs, right? Like there's a cool ecosystem there. It's very small, but it will grow and grow. But let me tell you something. I always thought that the partnerships that VeChain inked early, like I think it was IBM, they were doing something with some of the logistical freight with I think some of their container ships. This was back in like 2018, 2019, something like that. So like I've always had really high hopes and expectations for VeChain, but it's really kind of gone silent. And I think it'd be a good opportunity to hopefully get Sonny on the show and talk about what's going on with VeChain, because listen, they've got that 10-year partnership with the UFC. They are doing a lot of things and building in the background, but I think it's like very, very quiet in the background now. What like, because they were supposed to be like that that logistical solution for blockchain. So I hope that with supply chain and all that stuff, that's definitely a massive industry that blockchain can clearly take. And that's from not only goods to farm to table, food source, stuff like that. We always said, like, how cool would it be if a company, and this is maybe far out for some people, but you've got, a cattle farm, right? And you got these cattle ranchers, and every time, a cow was born, like you mint that process. And now, from basically from birth to the steak, you can track exactly, what's going on if you care, right? Like some people aren't going to go and look at like the immunization records on the back of the NFT, but if you actually cared, like you could be able to do that. And I think, we open up the door to so much more transparency. And come on, like that's where the world is going to. But obviously the bad actors are going to be the ones that try to stop the true transparency. But I see we got a hand up from Jay Whale. Jay Whale, what's up, fam? How are you?
Hey man, what's up? Nice meeting you. I think it's the second time you're in the podcast, but I was yesterday. Love what I'm hearing today as well. I think I have a little bit of topic, including VeChain. At least on the side of the supply chain, in my opinion, they're a little bit quiet because in their mind they just want to keep building it up. Because at least I talk over with the people at True Trace in Canada, and they currently are doing all the supply chain for the pharmaceuticals and the dispensaries over there with VeChain. So I completely agree with you that VeChain is probably going to be one of the biggest companies around the supply chain industry.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm pretty sure they're just keeping it quiet. So whenever the bull market, they already have all these deals landed out. But I agree with you.
So that's a really good thing, like the cannabis industry. Like, and I'm pretty sure when you said dispensary, like maybe you're talking about something else, but that's to me when I hear the word dispensary.
No, yeah, the cannabis industry and the pharmaceutical industry. So anything that make meds or cannabis or anything at all, they track all the supply chain from the making of the medicine and the distribution of it. They have a complete entire system for it. So it's pretty amazing. I think that company even went public. They created an IPO not too long ago. But it's just holding there.
Doesn't Home Depot or Lowe's or somebody use blockchain to
Lowe's? Yeah, so they were going to start. I think it had something to do with the tools. They've got their tool line. I think Home Depot has like Ryobi, and they've got like a certain line. Whatever the Lowe's line. We talked about this, I think, 2 months ago or somewhere around there on the show, is that they were going to start NFTing the tools so that, you basically have a receipt for life on the tools that you're getting. Hey, really quick, guys, I do have to say, like, somehow my phone managed to get trapped into like a draft tweet, a post. And so I can't even get back to the space. So I am going to X out of X really quick and come back. I think you got like 30 seconds. So I'll be back in. But if I happen to rug the space, my apologies. We'll get a new one going. But there's no way I'm just going to sit on a draft tweet space the whole time. So.
I'm going to join. I'll say what's up.
knows the troublesing.
I'll raise my hand or something.
This is hilarious.
I don't want to be in there so you can.
How are you guys? How's everybody?
We made it back.
Oh, what's up, Dave?
We made it back, baby. Come on. All right, that was so crazy.
Crap.
Does anybody else been having that issue? I feel like anytime like I go to, put up a new space or whatever, like it takes you to that draft tweet because there's only one way for me to get into it now. And then I totally get trapped in there sometimes. Like sometimes it'll close out, but sometimes it just traps me in there, and it happened right there. But so apologies. I'm glad it all worked out. Where were we?
Supply chains, basically.
Perfect. All right, we got some people joining up here. We got Mike, we got Ben, we got AI Love. What's up, family?
Yo, what's up? What's up? In the studio, getting to work.
That's it, man. That's what we're doing, straight working. That's all we do now, man. We're pushing forward. This is crypto.
Like the old days. Like the old days.
Like the old days. So, like today, guys, we got a bunch of people that are popping in. Thank you guys for joining Web3 Breakfast. Today, we're talking all about the impact of Web3 and crypto on your traditional industries, right? So, think about your traditionals like the sports or entertainment, like concerts. You've got NFTs that you can issue as tickets, or obviously, we were talking a few minutes ago about supply chain, with farm to table kind of things, or logistics, or a freight, stuff like that. So, what are these traditional industries that maybe you happen to work in that could use a little benefit of blockchain technology or crypto? You know what I'm saying? So that's the conversation for today. We got a few more people coming on up, so bring you guys on up here. Remember, this is Web3 Breakfast. We've got only one rule here. It's don't be a douchebag. So no racist, sexist, or homophobes. Other than that, y'all are welcome to come up here and be a part of the conversation. Just don't be a douche, all right?
Hey, GM, J Chains.
GM, Token Panda, how are you, bro?
I'm good, man. Hey, I heard you talking about a little V Chain. V Chain's great. I noticed that World of V's come out just in the last week with their, excuse me, their phygital launches. They've got a system set up now um, for the physical works that artists are now going to back by a digital twin, and that's been around on a few other chains, but I know they have a thing set up with World of V now going on V Chain, so that's just one of the ways that it's impacting sort of what it is I do on the daily. But yeah,
Nice. Yeah, I'm hashtag VFam for life for sure. AI love, and then we'll swing it on over to Mike.
It's so funny you said that, Token Panda. I was just, at NFTLV and World of it was an ADA and V Chain like cross collaboration, and I actually have one of those digitals that you were talking about. It allows you to mint any item right there on the spot to the blockchain, and then attach basically a RDIF chip. You tap it on your phone, and the whole process over there is relatively seamless. I was really knocked out off my socks by it, out of my socks by it. I thought it was really, really impressive, and it was a huge stride forward for blockchain technologies, right? Like I have to stop saying the word cryptocurrency because it scares people, and I just say blockchain technologies, and they're much more open to it. And when it comes to certifying an artist's work, with my uncle being a real renowned artist, I think that this will do wonders for the legacy of creators.
Nice, man.
are they sending you the NFC when you do that, or how does that work?
So it was a really quick process. I actually got it on video. But basically what it is, it's like a little chip, and then you take the phone. It's like you go to this app, and then you take the phone and you press it against it, and then it mints it right there. Boom, and it brings a letter of. It allows you to input the metadata, basically, who the artist is, what the rendering is, and then boom, it's stamped right then and there. It's certified. It's on the blockchain. It's an official body of work from that artist.
But do they have to ship you the NFC, or are you ordering that chip, or what? How is that working?
I don't know. Now, to that degree, I don't know, right? Because they did present me with two chips. So I do have the two chips and the two, like, sticker tags. I'm not too technical with it myself personally. But I do see the real world application, and I know it has a lot of value. And that makes me really bullish. And that's what makes me the most bullish about crypto. I had a conversation with somebody, and they were like, were you on the finance side? And I said, no, I'm more on like the software, the technical, and the development side, and the ways it's going to impact creators and business in general and total. And I think that that's where we really start speaking in volumes, medical history, and keeping that safe on the blockchain. Like that's huge. It's mega huge.
So that's something that I've talked about before, and I was actually talking to it might have been Dan from Flux, and actually it was during our panel at Cypherpunk just last week, and we've talked about it on the show too, and I think I got a more buy-in on this concept of, hey, when we start to think about all these different blockchains that we have, like instead of having all these maybe different competitive or competitors between different blockchains, what if these blockchains started to serve certain purposes where, all right, so we want to put medical records on the blockchain, well, what's the absolute most secure one? Because if we're thinking about medical records, it has to be the most secure. Whereas, all right, if we're just going to put license plates, and not saying that license plates and driving records are not as needed to be secure as medical records, but I think you guys hopefully get the point that as we start to find which blockchains could work for certain verticals, because as these businesses start to move over, they might see like this particular blockchain doesn't work for me, gasless, it doesn't have to be gasless, or what we do, like every transaction has to be gasless because there's just too many of them and it would just clog the network, with fees and everything. So like, what do you think about that? Like, what does anybody think about that? Like, if we start to really build out this ecosystem of how blockchain can help the actual world, what if Tezos was specifically for some specific cause, and Cardano for all the maths and science and whatever, what I'm saying? Like, do you guys understand what I mean there? Yeah, go ahead, Ava.
I believe it only makes sense, right? And if we believe in the nature of decentralization, then why would we want to decentralize different proponents and aspects of it, right? I think fundamentally fundamentally it'll keep us all much safer if we engage and we interact on different lanes. It's different means of commerce and travel. Some people want to drive by car, some people want to take a plane, some people want to take a boat. If the options of availability are not there, this is what we should be doing instead of going at each other. Oh, this blockchain's better, that blockchain's better. No, this blockchain has this feature that makes it more acceptable in this degree, and everybody's pushing for this overall picture and goal of accomplishments, right? And working together is how you get further.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And when you talk about working together, like you have to even think about like you talked about going to, the conference at NFTLV where it was kind of like a cross-chain thing, right? It was a collaboration with VeChain and Cardano. And why that's important is the more that we can start to play together, I think the more that we can accomplish. And then like the more that we accomplish, the better we make our industry look. And the better we make our industry look, then we really start to see facilitate, a better growth option, because it's not all, scams and bullshit, which, from the outside looking in, that's what they see. And it's like, even things of some of our terminology, I love that, we want to switch away from using the word cryptocurrency. Like, let's go to, blockchain technology, instead of, NFTs, we could go to digital. And this is where it kind of gets a little tricky, right? Because some are assets, some are collectibles, some are just a fucking reward card. But, at the end of the day, if it's an NFT, it's an NFT. But how do we start to really like classify and call these things what people want to accept them as? Because they're not going to take NFT, right? Like, that's just clearly we've learned like that's not going to work. So like start to reclassify some of these things to make, this look a little bit more appetizing to some more traditional industries. What do you guys think about that? Mike, go for it.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to say is thanks for having me up, first of all, and GM. So I have this idea, right? Like as you know, I'm an industrial maintenance technician, and so what I'm thinking is we can use a blockchain to help facilitate preventative maintenance. You know what I mean? Like, number one, you can make NFTs out of every single machine you have. You know what I mean? And then so you use the free space. Usually they have like an MMS or something like that, that they use on the computer. When you could do it easily, just type it out right on there and put it around the blockchain. It's, sometimes it's immutable, and, and you could have like repair orders. You could mint out like 100 million repair order tags. You know what I mean? And if you needed more, you could always mint out more. But you could use that to utilize the blockchain without having to use, like, most times they have to have servers and they have to have all this different stuff to facilitate all this massive array of stuff, when they can use the blockchain and save the space and save money,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's their own personal. They could either use their own personal chain and make up their own personal chain if they wanted to on it, or they could use, something that's fast and already made, just to facilitate things quickly also.
Let me ask, when you say that, and we'll get to you in a second here, Token Panda, but, you say that, making your own chain. Let's talk about this, because, like, and anybody, please feel free to chime in on this. Like, we heard, Citibank's basically going to come up with their own chain, their own token, so that they can, could pretty much handle their own, stuff, as a interbank, right? So what's going to stop, all these other companies from creating their own chain, all their own coin? And obviously there's going to have to be an intermediary between the two. I knew it. I love it. Matthew, please go ahead.
GM fam. Thanks so much for having me up. Good to see you, Jay.
Always.
Seven, everybody. I think one thing that's going to be so interesting, and we do this all the time right now, like we engage with digital currencies because we use credit card miles, we use American miles. Like, these are all basically the same kind of thing as a digital currency. They can just only be used for specific things. And we're going to see Apple do this with their savings account, right? Like, you're going to see organizations like Starbucks, Apple, the biggest businesses in the world create their own financial mechanisms and institutions that people can then be a part of, so they don't have to be part of the big banks. And interoperability is going to be such a big piece of this. So when we look at infrastructure that's sort of underlying all of this, that blockchain technology, or the blockchain technologies that we're talking about, are all going to have to speak to each other, and there's going to be a lot of really good ways that happens. And this was basically like the internet in the old days too, right? A lot of stuff didn't speak well to each other, different coding mechanisms, different websites, that was all very difficult to get onto and kind of just garbled and jumbled. And so as we get more and more mature in this ecosystem, we're going to see a lot of these things just be so effortless, and so and people be able to transact value with Starbucks points and Apple points, and they're just going to be able to trade all these things and just make it so seamless. And so I think that's really where things kind of point to traditionally for us in this space, and I'm just excited for that North Star.
Do you think, Matthew, do you think somebody, I don't know the legalities of any of this, but somebody, say you've got a lot of seed money or whatever, and you say, you know what, I am going to be like that intermediary between, your Target points, your Starbucks points, your Bank of America bucks, whatever it is. So I'll be the house, right? And so, okay, you want to trade in a couple of your Starbucks points to give yourself some McDonald's points. You can get yourself a cheeseburger because, like, you're done with coffee. Cool, I can facilitate that for you. So sell me your coffee bucks, and I'll give you some burger bucks. Like, how do we start to intermediary or like bridge like these reward communities to really tokenize that to get, all right, if you guys want to play in the game, this is how we're going to play it?
I think that's a great question. And you're seeing this with basically like friend tech, right? Where people are kind of created artificial points or artificial shares out of something that can be bought, sold, and traded. And that's a challenge, right? Because that means that your Starbucks points could go up and down or value based on how McDonald's points are being traded. And so you have this very large ecosystem that's not dollar based, but point and company based. And there could be a whole ecosystem of people buying, selling, and trading points from different companies. Like, I could envision a world where that happens and you'd have tax transactions, you'd have taxable implications, you'd have gains and losses on your American Airlines points or whatever the case is. But there's definitely going to need to be an intermediary or a decentralized intermediary from like some DEX perspective that allows us to do this without the need for Starbucks to hold their own points or manage their own stuff. So it would be really cool if there's some sort of decentralized mechanism that did that for us. And that people could just plug into and then launch their points or their tokens on, et cetera.
Man, I like that. I was just looking. I just posted up into the nest, but I started my account on Stars Arena last night, which is an AVAX thing. I think it's like it's the friend tech, but on AVAX. And I tell you what.
It's your OnlyFans?
Yeah. I started an OnlyFans last night. It's really interesting, right? And I didn't participate in the friend tech thing, but the concept of this is fascinating to me, and I'm looking forward to hopefully getting the team from the platform on. I know tomorrow. I think we're probably going to have a couple people on from the community to talk about it, just because it's interesting and I want to learn about it. And it was actually my first AVAX wallet, so I definitely want to learn more and more about AVAX. I know it's one of those ones that we got to start talking about. So. We'll do that. Let's get to some of these hands. I know Ben, you wanted to speak.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of touch on this because I think it's interesting. We're all kind of waiting on, one of two things. We're either waiting on this great consolidation in crypto where all of these coins go away and we end up with maybe 200, or the opposite. And actually the world that you guys are referring to right now. I mean, that's the world John McAfee predicted. He predicted when I brought up the idea to him of, rest in peace, John, of course. When I brought up the idea of a consolidation, he was like, F that, He always called me butt boy. Here's the thing. We're going to see 100,000 coins. That's what we're going to see. 100,000 coins. We're going to see more coins, not less coins. And I think that this is the big kind of philosophical debate in the world of crypto that we all have, which is, are we going to see a consolidation where coins go kaput, or are we going to see this really take hold and adoption come on? And I think for me personally, I believe it's both. And I think you have to have the contraction before you have the growth. And I think that when you look at the .com bubble, I use this example all the time. People probably tired to hear me say this if they've heard me say it before. But you look back at the .com bubble, at 90, I think it was 95% of companies went down. If you look at the number on CoinMarketCap, if we had 95% of coins go down, we'd still have six figures worth of coins, something like that, or close to it. But of course, before CoinMarketCap made that stupid change where they just took every token that's ever been in existence, there used to be about 25,000 legitimate projects. CoinMarketCap only lists the details for about 3,000 of those coins, I think. So you're looking at about 3,000 coins really being alive, really being legitimate. I think it's 3,000. Maybe it's just under 10,000. I can't remember. I know that's a big range, but the point is this. The point is, if 95% of 25,000 coins went down, we would be down to 1,250 coins, on a 10,000 or something like that. So I think that, or excuse me, 1,250 out of 25,000 coins is what we'd be looking at. And if you look at the dot-com bubble and you look at a lot of those companies, and I think it's so fascinating. Of course, we all know we have Banana Coin, right? If you're an OG in the space, you remember Banana Coin, you remember the ICO, you remember tracking nanners on the blockchain, Chiquita style. Like y'all remember that, okay? Now, most of y'all probably don't remember, but my OGs do. And look, what a stupid idea, right? Tracking bananas on the blockchain. Why is this a stupid idea? Because we're still not at a point with true adoption on supply chain tracking in general yet. So my point here being is that the banana coin, it's not actually a bad concept for a coin, but for where we're at in crypto right now, it doesn't make any sense, So what you do is you look forward and you look in the future and you say, in 25 years from now, when blockchain is everywhere, now you can have these coins that track specific things within different areas. And I think I always love these two examples, pets.com and Webvan. Those were two companies in the dot-com bubble. They were two of the most popular ones that people remember if you were alive around that time and paying attention. Those coins, they came in, they had a lot of, or not the coins, those companies came in, they had a lot of hype, people were excited about them, and then they went belly up before they even got going. Well, guys, look around. Pets.com, well, today, that's Chewy. When you look at Webvan, what is that today? Instacart, right? Now, they're not literally the same companies, but they're the same concepts in general. And the point is when Pets.com and when Webvan debuted, they were just too early. And I think we're looking at a lot of coins right now that are just too early for where we're at in the blockchain ecosystem. So I think going forward, that's why I like to stick to projects that do more things instead of do less things, because I think the ones that win are going to be the ones that do more, don't do the very, very, very specific things because they're just too niche. So that's my 2 satoshis.
I love it, man. Thank you for that. And I agree with you about the whole coin ecosystem and how many that we have. And forever, my whole thing was like, oh my God, we have way too many cryptos in this ecosystem, and we do, right? And time will tell. Like the booby Bobby Inus and whatever, those are the ones that need to go away. But we should see more of Jimmy's plumbing supply, starting to tokenize his business. Those are the kind of coins that we should see. People that are providing services in the real world versus again, the whatever. You guys know what I'm saying. Let's get some of these hands. Let's go Mac, and then Jay Whale, and then AI.
Yo, thanks for having me up, Jay Chains.
Always.
Well, if you see Walmart's been using blockchain technology for their supply chain, and they don't have a token. You know what I'm saying? I think you're going to see a lot of companies start to implement this technology in a closed loop system for their own blockchains, and you're not going to see any tokens come from this. Just because you use blockchain technology doesn't necessarily mean that you need to create a token behind what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? The tech's already in place, but everybody wants to own a coin. Everybody wants to say, hey, buy my token. Hey, do this, do that. But essentially, I don't think you necessarily need to create a token in order to implement this technology in your business and how it's being used. And I think that nobody's watching Walmart and what they're doing for their supply chain and utilizing blockchain technology. But as soon as they have that shit locked into place and under wraps and it's good, I guarantee you that system gets spread through all these other companies and we're not going to even know what happened. And Walmart's not going to be buy the Walmart token.
Would you buy Walmart token? Would you buy Walmart token?
What's that?
Would you buy Walmart token if it was a thing?
No.
They use Hyperledger. They're using another token. It's just a privatized database.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Is it's not for sale.
No, but you can buy Hyperledger token.
And is that you think basically betting on the whole thing to work for Walmart? Because if it works for Walmart, then it's going to work for this company behind it, right?
It is going to work for everybody else if it works for Walmart.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same reason the DMV in California is using Tezos, right? So they're using permission blockchains and tokens already. They don't need to go out and issue one. And especially because of the security concerns, they're not going to. There's no reason to. So let's use what infrastructure is already there because they've proven they can do it right. But what they do is they make it permissioned so nobody else has access to it. And they just leverage the tokens that are already in existence.
My guy, Matthew. Thank you, sir. Jay Whale, we'll go Jay Whale and then AI.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I also agree with Matthew. There's definitely a bunch of companies using that permissionless meta. But to the point that you just mentioned, G-Shane, of like actually tokenizing companies with real world use cases as in local businesses, in my opinion, I think that's one of the biggest concentrations on my side, especially here in Puerto Rico. Because again, it's a boost, like you can boost economies with it, especially for SMEs. So if you start tokenizing local businesses and offering them to local citizens, it boosts the economy on that local town per se. So in my opinion, we're going to be seeing a lot of that, especially with playing with equity, utility tokens. But in where we were talking also that there needs to be a middleman. At least we've been experiencing a lot with Vertalo.com, which essentially they're an agent that are registered to transfer securities with the SEC. And with them, you can tokenize equity, you can tokenize real estate deeds and stuff like that. But they have a whole mix of like actually issuing it with the SEC, and they just make a copy on it in the blockchain area. So you kind of have both. So there's still a lot of work to be done, but there's definitely companies like Vertalo just starting to, I guess, experiment on that realm. But yeah, man, it's exciting to see what's going to happen with this whole tokenization world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Token Panda, what you got for us, man? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Sorry.
AI can go.
Hey, yeah, he was throwing up emojis, and I didn't see the hand behind the emoji.
No, token panda, by all means, I'm patient.
Such gentlemen up here. I love this.
I just had one idea, or like, sorry, hold on. You should have went AI. So it's like when we do all these things with our own businesses and whatnot, or the medical thing, I feel like a lot of it is going to be like on a side chain or on like a branch of it, for example. And then to the note about like launching a token for a roofing business or whatever, I'm of the opinion that if I launch a token on XRP and I have my community use this token, it's actually taking value away from the native asset, which is like we went through a situation on the ledger where before NFTs we were using IOU tokens, and it actually wasn't beneficial to, like, we should be using the token of the ledger or the chain that we're on, for like a healthier ecosystem. And then I lost the last one.
It's all good.
Well, it's all right. Let me clear my voice real quick. So the way I look at it is like this. I hear a lot of people talk about like the use case of these tokens. I think maybe more or less protocols to the scale, but native tokens will most definitely be utilized to process microtransactions and serve as a use case purpose of individual value of stock shareholders. So let me correlate this with Friendtech, right? Friendtech right now, you engage and you can invest in certain individuals, and this builds up the collateral. Okay, so you'll have an individual collateral stock, a social credit score, which is then going to be tokenized. That tokenization then can be used in conjunction with bigger entities. And I hear a lot of people talk about Walmart and things of this nature. Well, you must not understand what crypto is here to do, right? It's here to displace a lot of the established entities to that degree. And this is the number one reason why they're suppressing the message out of the power, right? Because if people innately grabbed onto it and realize its true potentials and how it unlocks, it provides the individual and the collective group with the purchasing power of some of these standalone entities, because we're the ones supplying them with the funding to make sure that they're operational. So when you talk about looking at tokenization and where it's going to go to the caliber of token, I feel as though the native asset and the individual will see the increase. You'll see an increase of tokenization of everything. Everything will be tokenized, and therefore it has the capability to be fractionalized. Now you're starting to see how you own nothing and you're happy. You don't actually need to own something if you own a share, a fraction of everything. And that's what tokenization is going to allow for the record keeping of that ledger. Currently, if you wanted to do so, there might be a ledger, but how immutable is it, right? How easy is it for me to infiltrate your data network and system and change that information? Then it unverifies the authenticity of something. With blockchain technologies, we have the capability to do that. So just imagine what that's going to look like on a grander scale when it comes to collaborating with each other. I think that is pretty exciting, and I can't wait to have my own token.
Heck yeah. I mean, that's where it's going. You got you remember where you were going, Token Panda?
Yeah, I remember it. It was just about the I almost see it as the way like world reserve currency is working. We were talking about the basket of reward tokens, where it's like, oh, I've got my air miles token, my blah 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 rewards, and my all these rewards. It would be like a central basket of these quote currencies that you would put your reward token into, and you could either take out the quote stable like native asset of that basket, or it could easily be trustlessly trusted that I put in my air miles and I'm going to get out my scene token, the same way that it seems that the International Monetary Fund is going to do things with the, SDR and that sort of thing.
Boom. Definitely like that, man. I appreciate that, and thanks for coming back with the rest of what you had, man. This has been like so much fun. It's very informative show. Appreciate everybody in the opinions, guys. Remember, this is Web3 Breakfast. It's a show for the community by the community. So if you want to come on up, all you gotta do is raise your hand. I think we got a full stage right now, but we can move some people around and get some more folks up here, because the whole idea is for everybody to come up here, share their opinion, their thoughts, ideas. We only have the one rule: it's don't be a douchebag. So no racist, sexist, or homophobes. Other than that, you guys come on up here and share your opinions. Coach Corey has been fired by Coach Carey.
Oh shit! Yeah, they're busy at work, man.
I know.
Yeah, it's workout time.
It is workout time, baby.
Extra minute.
There you go. So we're typically about halfway point. We do a quick workout. Got to have that healthy mind, healthy body, and a healthy portfolio. So typically a lot of us, we sit at our desks for many hours throughout the day. So if we can stack up a few of these little micro workouts, I promise you, we have scientific evidence and proof that they are effective. As long as you do more than one a day, you'll be all right. But so it's time to do that, guys. So get up. If you're sitting down, if you're already standing up, great. And if you can't, try to do a little desk workout. And if that's literally not possible, you can do a mental workout, because remember, you got to have a sharp mind. So, all right, this is a song from one of the homies, Nessie. Let's get our workout in. I'm gonna do some push-ups, so I'll be back in just a second.
Yeah. It's Nessie. This that one that got them jumping around. They thought we was down. Real ones never die. Educate and multiply. Someone drip, they said that I would freaking drown. Popping like Chris Beezy, I'm cheesing. Look at me now. Feel like Eddie Murphy got them script. They speaking on my life and they don't even know the meaning. I told them I would win, they ain't believe me. Man, they used to say I fall, now they say I didn't mean it. What you want? Tell me what you want. What you want from me? Came up from the bottom, lot of problems, but I saw with ease. Ain't nobody care, they wasn't there when I would walk in peace. I'm living plentiful, say thanks before I spot my tree. Laughing at these people that be hating. This one for them haters, praying that I wouldn't make it. Man, they see me rolling by and that foreign need a facelift. Sacrifice so much for this moment, it's very sacred. Chugging on my roadmap, who knew I'd get a song with Tony Dolphin? I used to have to sleep up on them flow mad times, but through the bad vibes, had my bag high, and now I found my sound. And it's that one that got them jumping around. They thought we was down. Real ones never die. Educate and multiply. Someone's trick, they said that I would freaking drown. Popping like Chris Beezy, I'm cheesing. Look at me now. Feel like Eddie Murphy got them script. They speaking on my life and they
All right, get those last couple sets in, baby. Come on now. If you're doing push-ups, do one or two more. If you're doing sit-ups, I won't encourage you to do more. I hate sit-ups, but appreciate you guys. Oh, I ain't gonna give you the whole thing. I'm not giving you the whole thing.
Bro, I try to do jumping jacks and I'm lightheaded. I try to do jumping jacks and I'm lightheaded. Do not try to do jumping jacks this early in the morning.
No, we don't. Listen, I don't like sit-ups. I could do jumping jacks, but they're not my favorite. Push-ups is what I'm liking right now. It's like a really good chest and shoulder workout. So it's my favorite. Got to get jacked, baby. Hot boy Winter. Zach, what you got for us, man?
Morning. How you guys doing?
GMGM, fam.
Hey, so sorry my voice is still gone from this weekend, but going along with what you guys were saying, I think kind of going back to what I've said before, I think that certain blockchains are going to have their their strengths, and kind of like Walmart's using the hyper token or whatever that is. I think that is going to be kind of a way to maybe invest or speculate into where certain things could be going. But the other thing too is kind of going back to like the early internet days, which I was pretty young, so I don't know a whole lot, but I just remember that there were a ton of search engines, and Google wasn't necessarily the best one, but it was the most popular for some reason. And I feel like that could happen with different blockchain companies as well. They may not have the best technology, but if they get picked up by a company like Walmart and they start getting used more and more, they're probably going to be the one that starts getting picked up by more and more companies. And so that's something kind of keep in mind. But also, I think too, if there's so many tokens, like right now, there's like 20,000 or something like that. Once there's so many tokens, it's going to become so overwhelming that certain tokens are going to start losing popularity, and little by little they'll all start dying off.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that there's room for plenty of layer ones, because they're all going to have strengths in certain places, and different companies will pick them up for different reasons. But it's easier for a big company like Walmart to pick up a blockchain company that's already proved their technology, rather than Walmart find somebody to make their own and figure everything out all on their own. It's easier just to partner with another company that's already done that.
No, absolutely. I think, you have to think like, and this is again, a lot of these are opinions, but we'll start to figure this out. But as we start to see companies, Fortune 500s, or your traditional, ecosystem companies want to make a splash in the blockchain space, are we going to see them react and adapt and shift what they're doing to be Web3 friendly, or are they going to acquire someone who already maybe is in their vertical, whether they see him as competition or not, or just sidestep the time that it would take to bring their company up to speed? Just let's do the acquisition model, and then we can internally figure out where we are, how we get a better understanding of this. Like, I think that's where we're going to start to see our industry shift to. I think, right, the acquisition model over the next
I agree with
3 to
that
5
too,
years.
the acquisition model, because historically in capitalism, that's what you see happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Is like, yo, we'll just acquire these guys. Even if we have to shelve this, we'll acquire these guys, shelve it, then we'll put our version of this out. But essentially with this technology, there's so many players in this situation that are creating right now and building those things. Like, that's a very good question, J Chains.
We'll see where it goes. But I think if, as long as we have more people who educate themselves and then can represent the industry and get picked up by some of these companies, maybe they will start to internally build. But I think like you said, with capitalism and the acquisition model, it just really sidesteps a lot of time in order to get your foot into the door before maybe it's too late. I don't know. Let's go Caesar, and then Matthew, and then Cole.
Hey, what's up, guys? Good morning.
GM.
So, GM, man. Yeah. So I didn't catch the whole conversation, but I kind of caught the last few comments. And I think with companies like Walmart, I think it's important to remember that they try to own the process, like end to end, right? So I don't know necessarily that we would see companies like that, trying to create their own like layer one. But I can certainly see the case for a company like Walmart, trying to do like a layer 2 or layer 3 solution. And then the other part is, I think you have to look at Walmart's business strategy, much like Amazon. The fact that they want to own a process end to end, they want to own distribution, they want to own retail, they want to own manufacturing, they want to own, like, they really want to own it all. So I don't know. I see a case for them potentially. In the beginning, maybe it's more of a reward type of model, but I think with some regulatory clarity, we could potentially see some of these crypto offerings start to take place of traditional stock options. And basically, I could see Walmart using it as a way to gauge interest in maybe new product launches or new segments that they want to open up,
Mhm.
and essentially offer it like a stock option, you know, where you're letting the market own some of that, and at the same time you gauge interest for it. So I don't know, like I could see like a Walmart RET token, RET for retail, or a DIST for distribution, or something like that, right? Where they segment it out, and then they allow people, basically stockholders, but in this sense it would be like token holders, to own some of that, right? And then they'd know where their strengths are. So I don't know. That's kind of where my brain goes. Who knows? Maybe I'm completely wrong.
No, man, I absolutely love it. I think that, you know, the more that we can get to, you know, systems like that, the faster we can get there too, I think is probably in all of our best interest. Matthew.
I think it's interesting from a legacy perspective. You know, Walmart's example is great. They took a logistics problem that took them 7 days to identify bad material or bad food or airborne products that were not good. And they were able to take that process down using blockchain and hyperledger technology from 7 days to 3 minutes. And what these legacy companies are really interested in is saving money and making money. It really has nothing to do with Web3. They don't give a shit about Web3. They don't care how the things work. They just want to make sure that they can get products to people faster and make more money in the process. So I think that you're going to see a lot of them try to buy companies that facilitate these for them, take them private or whatever the case is, so that they can own some proprietary piece of this. But I think from the other side that we actually, who are kind of Web3 native in this space, really like to see is, screw these guys. They're the big players. They're legacy. They're antiquated. They're the Sears Roebuck of our generation, right? I think there's going to be more companies like Yuga, for example, that come in and completely disrupt stuff that's going on with like Meta, and create completely new user experiences and own new vertical channels that drive this adoption in a much more relative and consistent way to users that we are seeing now. So I think there's going to be a big difference between sort of the Web 2 dinosaur integration with this, which is go buy some pieces of companies, go integrate it, and then increase our margins and lower costs. But I think the real exciting stuff is going to come from the disruptors that have yet to be created that will ultimately upend this. Like as Ben said, pets.com was nothing, but Chewy is a massive multi-billion-dollar company, right? So those are just my 2 cents.
So it's not always advantageous to be first to market, be best to market.
Yeah, the number one statistic of the success of a company comes down not to funding, not to investors, not to idea, but to timing. It is proven time and time again, pun intended, that it is when you get into the market that is going to be the most critical factor in your success.
I need a clip of that. We need to clip that. 10:53. That was beautiful. I love that. Thank you, Matthew. Cole, what you got for us?
Hey, good morning.
What's up, fam?
Much. I just want to follow up the guy that the machinist. He talked about tokenizing machines, but what about tokenizing trades or trade skills? So, for instance, you have a skill, you tokenize it, and it's recorded in some ledger somewhere, and that's instantly accessible. And where I see the application of this may be if in the event of a natural disaster, a catastrophe, insurance companies use this process to determine who they're going to allow or who they're going to cover to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it also is a licensing process through, like I think somebody mentioned, like a roofer or a plumber. If you're looking at state licensure that are allow you to do certain jobs,
mm-hmm.
That being tokenized for anybody that's dealt with the state, it takes time. It's a drawn out process. But if that information is instantly accessible,
I mean, yeah, think about
provides
that.
ease of use.
I love that. I mean, think about if you could, you know, again, it goes to so many things where you can verify and you can authenticate anything, you know, with the use of blockchain, and whether it's, you know, you're saying like your credentials. So now, yeah, say you run, and we use like an Angie's List as the example because that's what everybody knows, right? So now, you know, your qualifications are tokenized through Angie's List. So if you do need a licensed plumber, you're not going to get some guy who's faking everything, like literally, like, you know, he's got, you know, the credential and the credentialing system that is attached to his business, like, you know, his license number or whatever, you know, if it's a transportation, they have a DOT number, whatever, right? So that you can then unequivocally verify that the person that you are trying to hire for a job is qualified to do it, so you don't get taken advantage of. And I think that we could see that literally in any industry, right?
I agree with that.
I mean, that's where we're going, man. That's where a lot of the stuff is going. Was this Ariel for life? Ariel for life. What's up, fam?
What's going on, man? I can kind of get behind that idea. I work for a township, and we kind of have a shared service agreement. But if it was on the blockchain or something like that, you could have a shared service agreement upon different townships to, if there was a natural disaster like that. And this way, you might one time might have one thing, might have another thing, and you can kind of see what everyone has and work as a team to get things more accomplished in a quicker and more efficient way.
Mm-hmm. Listen, it will create it once we fully, and I don't want to say automate that. I don't mean like having an autonomous society, but once we get there, right? And you know, every industry is running, you know, on the same technology. I think that like what we will find is that the seamless nature of a lot of things that we do will be all interwoven, and I think we can all be a lot more productive once, you know, we kind of cut out the bloat of all of our lives. I mean, think about, okay, it really, there's application, everything, transportation, right? Like once we get, you know, all the cars on the blockchain and autonomous, right? Now they just become a moving system where get out of the way, like you can't override and drive it yourself because then you'll cause the, you know, the cog in the wheel, but you know, the clog in the wheel. Like, so, you know, all of these things are going to seriously, like, you know, change our time. Now, you don't have to worry about sitting in traffic. You know, your daily commute, you know, it might be 5 miles, but you know, stop traffic, it might take you an hour. So now that goes away. So now you've got more time. Remember, time is the most precious commodity any of us can have. You cannot make any more of it. But what you can do is start to free up some of the bullshit that might take some of your time away to be more productive, to, you know, put more of your passion into something so that, you know, maybe you can get that financial freedom a little bit sooner than if you had to just keep grinding it out and sit in traffic for 40 hours a week, or, you know, whatever your daily commute might be. We all know this. We all know that that's like an actual thing that people face. So, you know, once we get to this point where, you know, every industry is, you know, again, moving a little bit faster, a little bit more, you know, at the speed of how technology moves, you know, that will be very beneficial to all of us as a human race. But it's going to be a while, man. I'm telling you what. A lot of people are resistant to change, but change is good. Change. I think there's some songs. Change will do you good. I think they wrote a song about that. Anyway, guys, anybody got anything else to add today? This has been fun. Very educational and informative.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yep. Yeah, we can. What's up, Ham? How are you?
Yeah, hey, how are you? Good morning. I want to just touch on what the you guys talking about your credentials being on the blockchain. Like a lot of problems we have here in Canada is immigrants are coming in and we have a lack of nurses and whatnot because they can't transfer their education over to Canada. So I think something like that, where you can easily verify that you're qualified for the job, would be very great to help us because we have a shortage of nurses here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that whole medical, I think it's called medical tourism, right? Something like that. That whole industry, because of you know, the pandemic, really, you know, popped up and flourished, and it's interesting. I think that's a fantastic. I mean, there should be, you know, some central entity that, you know, people can register into so that they can, you know, go abroad and say, listen, like, I'm just here to help. Like, literally, all I want to do is fucking help, and here's my credentials to let you know that I can do it. Because we're gonna get there, man. There are people that do care about the world, that do want to see it turn into a better place. I, for one, am one of them, and I hope that you guys are too. Appreciate you being here. This is Web3 Breakfast.
Sir.
You guys have a great afternoon. There's a lot of things going on over the next couple of days, so make sure you tap in. Be on the lookout for links invites, all sorts of stuff. Friday we'll be at UCLA. We'll try to live stream as much of that as possible, create as much content as we can. Once we get out to LA, I'll be out there tomorrow. Turbo will be there today. Guys, do something to make yourself 1% better today than you were yesterday, and I guarantee you do that a few days in a row, and you will have a smile on your face. We love you guys. Tune in tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, for more Web3 Breakfast. Adios, amigos.